My name is Melissa Johnstone. I work at CAIO. I've been with the company for over 6 years. I am a BCBA regional director, and we're going to be talking about closing the gap. So teaching toddlers with delays to connect and communicate. Why is this important? So as you know, 1 in 4 children under the age of 5 are identified at risk for developmental delays. And while intensive speech therapy, physical therapy, or behavioral therapy may be recommended based on a child's needs, there's often a wait for services. Oftentimes, the most powerful agent for change is not the hours spent in a therapist's office, but the interactions between a parent and a child. So in this presentation today, I'm going to just share some tips and tricks with you on what you can do while you're waiting for therapies to get started. What can you do at home in your environment? So a little bit about CAIO and who we are and what we do. We are a team of over 600 professionals in behavioral health. Our team consists of behavior analysts, program supervisors, behavior technicians, and also an admin team. We provide services including ABA therapy, and this can be in the home, in the center. We have a center in Oceanside, actually in San Diego, which opened up recently, and via telehealth. We do parent training, behavior consultation, and we also provide school and community and shadow support as well. And then a little bit where we serve. We did start in California 15 years ago, and we have rapidly expanded into other states. So we are also in Oregon, Washington, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. It's very, very exciting. We're happy to be able to serve more families throughout the country. All right, so for today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to start with some strategies to promote communication. We're going to move on to how to create learning opportunities within your home and with your child. We're going to talk about some alternative communication modalities. And then at the end, we will have some time for questions and answers. So if something comes up in the middle of the presentation, don't hesitate to just write it in the chat, and then I will address them all at the very end of the webinar. So first thing we're going to talk about, strategies to promote communication. First one is pivotal response treatment, or also known as PRT. So what is PRT? It is a communication strategy that we use in sessions, in ABA, and it really is about creating learning opportunities. It is ABA based, so it has principles of ABA built into it. It's play based and child initiated, so it's very fun, and it should be fun and really engage a child. You can use it within your everyday environment and routines. And you definitely want to be using natural reinforcement. And I'll go over all of these in more detail. So why use PRT? So it develops and strengthens communication, language, and also positive social behaviors. And the word pivotal, right? Just meaning it's very important areas of development for a child. So this includes motivation, response to multiple cues, self-management, as well as self-initiation of social interactions. So the first part of PRT, you really want to be following your child's lead. So you know your child best, right? What do they gravitate towards? What are they motivated by? What are they interested in? So let them be your guide in the play. And this will increase their motivation and just increase the likelihood that they will want to engage with you as you're trying to bring about these learning opportunities. Sorry, I think I skipped too far ahead here. Okay. Yes, so you want to follow your child's lead. You want to use natural reinforcers, and you want to use your natural environment. So following your child's lead, what does that look like? We talked about this. Yeah, you want to use activities, games, topics of conversation that'll increase their motivation and want to interact and play with you. Manipulating the environment. This allows for increased learning opportunities. So an example of this would be, let's say your child really loves cars, construction vehicles, like you see in this picture. You want to place them up high, right? So this will hopefully evoke a point, right? Or some vocal approximation from your child to get the toy, to get the car that's up there. Another example would be maybe your child loves art and loves to color, draw. You want to manipulate the environment so that you are in control of all those markers and those pens and even the paper, and you're going to have them request, for the paper or the pen, maybe even, colors, or even if they're just pointing, right? They can point to kind of what they are wanting. And this way you can have lots of learning opportunities built into an activity. All right, so next part, teaching child initiations and asking questions. So this is a great way to increase communication. It can also improve social skills of your child. So for example, asking questions like, where is it? Or what's that? What happened? Social commenting. So this can include things like, wow, look at this. That's awesome, cool. And then requesting assistance can look like, help me, or, I need you. So for example, how you could do this, you could take a preferred item, you could hide it, let's say in a shoebox, you could shake it up, try and get your child's interest, making that noise that they're maybe like looking at it like, what's going on, right? When your child approaches the box, you can model the question that you're trying to teach them. So for example, what's that? And then you say it, and then immediately show your child the item that's in the box. Then play with the item, play with whatever was in the box. And then you can keep repeating this, right? And you can delay a little bit of time just to see if maybe your child can start asking part of the question, right? What, or some approximation, right? To that, that full question, what's that? So another example, let's say you're playing with a dollhouse. You have a little stuffed animal. The stuffed animal can, do knock on the door. So you go, right? And you have the little animal knock on the door. And again, you're going to model what we're trying to teach. So you're going to say, who is it? And then you're going to open the door and you're going to show the animal to your child, right? And make it really fun and exciting. And then you can vary it with different toys. And like I mentioned earlier, you can wait with that model, that verbal model, and see if maybe your child will then begin to say like, who, or who is it? All right, we're gonna move on to creating learning opportunities. So you can use PRT within your daily routines. Some examples include meal times, playtime, bath time, and bedtime. And I'll just give examples for each one of these. So let's say it's mealtime and your toddler sees a banana and is crying for it. You can model the language. So you can say, banana, you want banana. And then you can give your child a bite of the banana. You can hold most of the banana, right? So just give the little piece of the banana. And then this way you'll have more opportunities, right, to practice this, this communication interaction, right, with the child saying banana or an approximation of banana. In this instance, you are going to use the banana as the reinforcer, so it's very natural. Playtime. So you can model play. You can ask them to join in, show them new and creative ways to use preferred toys. So for example, let's say your child picks out a little toy cow. It's playing with it. You can get down on the level of your child and start saying, labeling cow, moo, cow says moo, and just be silly and interact with your child with that animal. Bath time. It's a great time to label body parts, blowing bubbles, splashing, taking toys, dropping them in, try and maybe elicit some more, right? Or again, something really silly in the bath time. Bedtime. So you can use PRT within, getting dressed. You can label the clothes. You can label items in your bedroom. You can hide objects in the bedroom, the bedroom and find them. For example, maybe there's a special book you like to read. At bedtime, you can hide it under covers. Maybe work on some questions like where is it? So definitely lots of ways that you can use PRT in daily routines with your child. All right, so next we're going to talk about alternate communication modalities. So this can include a picture exchange system, as well as sign language, so baby sign or American Sign Language. And I'm going to talk about each of these in more detail. So for sign language, often infants can communicate and learn sign language, right? And there actually are studies that show that sign language can help evoke more verbal communication as well. So it's not going to hinder it, it actually can enhance it. So these are just some studies that you're more than welcome to copy down, write down if you'd like to look into them more, just talking about sign language and how it can really support the onset of vocal language. And if anyone needs them again at the end, just let me know. All right, so how to implement sign language. We want to be using model and physical prompts. So modeling is you doing the signs yourself. Physical prompts, you might need to help your child, shape their hands into the correct way for signs. You want to provide the natural reinforcement for each sign. So if you're teaching water or food, and your child uses the sign or you help them to use the sign, you're going to use what they asked, what they requested for it to be as the reinforcer. And then you can also use it within songs and play. So for example, let's say maybe we're back with the banana and you cut it up in little pieces and you're trying to teach more, like the sign language more. You're going to, model the more with your hands. You can also say it out loud, help your child to do it as well. And then you would reinforce with the slice of banana. You can also connect with local resources such as your library for opportunities to learn more about sign language. Sometimes they have signing times with songs and books. There are also books for children that you can read. And within the books, they show the different signs that you can try and teach your child. You can also start this really early. So you can start this as soon as 8 or 9 months. As soon as your child's 8 or 9 months, you can start with signs. Usually want to start with one, and you can start with more. That's a pretty easier one to just manipulate with the fingers, and then easy to reinforce. So I'm just going to review some common signs here with you all. So I kind of went over this already, but there's more. So you're going to take your fingers and kind of push them together like this. Like I said, you can use this with food. That's a pretty good one. All done is another great one to teach, especially if your child maybe has some behaviors around, like with non-preferred activities. So you want them to try and start an activity, but then instead of reinforcing, the screaming tantrum, you want to reinforce them communicating. So you want to teach them all done. So you could take your hands and go like this. So maybe it's a non-preferred activity. You see them starting to get, their body language is like, I don't want to do this, right? You're going to say, all done. You're showing me you're all done. And you're going to help them and take their hands like this. They do the sign all done. And then you end the activity as the reinforcer. Sleep, that's another important one to teach as well. So you're going to take your hand like this and bring it down. So I have children myself, so I know they get pretty grumpy, and especially when they're tired. So this is a great one to teach if they notice that it's getting towards nap time, right? And maybe you just like, oh, you're looking tired, and let's go to sleep, right? And you can model that for them, help them do it, and then you go put them down for nap. Eat is another great one as well. Because you can use a natural reinforcer of edibles, right, and food. And you can work this into every mealtime. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack as well. So there's lots of opportunities to practice this sign within a day. And so eat's going to look like this. You're taking your fingers to your mouth, bringing it, and you're eating an item. It's a great one to start out with. Another one, bath time. So you're gonna take your hands like this, and you're gonna go up and down. So you're like scrubbing body. You can also do this, right before bath time, like it's bath time, right? And then you can teach your child as well to do that, especially if they like bath time. All right, this next modality we're gonna talk about is photo exchange systems. So this includes a little bit of work on, parents' parts, but it's not too bad. You just need to have access to a computer, printer, and then we do recommend laminating these cards. And so I will go into a little bit more detail about that, but you can find those online pretty easily or at your local craft store. So laminating machine and laminating pouches. So, but with photo exchange systems, it's a great child-initiated way to communicate. And basically what it is, it's an exchange of pictures for a desired item. So there'll be a picture and an item, and you're going to kind of swap it for one another. So how to implement? So first, what you want to do is identify your child's preferred items. It's important. Then you're going to want to print those pictures of those items. As I mentioned before, I would recommend just laminating them because in the exchange process and, if they're getting a lot of use, they can, wear and tear pretty easily. Then you're going to physically prompt your child to exchange the picture for the desired item. And then you will immediately provide the item and model the language. So let's say, gummies is something that's very highly preferred food item for your child. You'll print out that picture. You'll have the actual gummy item itself, right? So you'll give your child the picture. You'll have them give you the picture of the gummy. You say, oh, gummies, you want gummies? And then give the physical gummies to your child. That's kind of how you would start like a picture exchange system. So here are a couple more examples on here. So you see, it's a picture of an orange for an orange, same thing there. We do use sign language and PECs at CAIO as ways of, teaching communication, as well as, AAC devices, if that's something that your child might have already from a speech therapist or from school. Alrighty, here are some references. So please feel free to jot those down. If you want specific links, I definitely can chat them to everybody on here. The first one is talking about PRT. The first two are talking about PRT, and yeah, and then some developmental delay resources as well down there, and then some links for Autism Speaks talking about PRT. And then, yeah, here are some baby milestones, developmental milestones, just a quick check-in, right? Don't know how old your children, might be, but these are just some guidelines, right, of things we definitely want to see in development. So speech and language around 3 months, starting to babble or initiate sounds. Around 7 months, putting those consonants together, so like ba, 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 mama, mama. Motor around 3 months, opening and closing fists, pushing legs down when on a firm surface. 7 months, transferring objects from one hand to the other, sitting up, reaching for items. And then around 3 months, so we want, to see smiling, especially when a child might hear a parent's voice. And then some, becoming upset, right? When play partner or, caregiver stops playing with them. Alrighty. I think that is the end of all of my slides on here. So I'm going to go to the chat really quick. And let's see if we have a couple questions. So I also just want to mention as well, right, some things we do offer at CAIO. So we do host webinars like this. We do quite a few each month. So where you found this webinar, on our website, there is an events tab, and you can see all the webinars that we are hosting. They are always free. We do try and tag like what's the appropriate audience, but you're more than welcome to come to any of them that sound interesting to you, and please feel free to share. We also offer free consultations. So if you just want to see like what is ABA about, or would my child benefit from this? If you have a diagnosis or if you don't have a diagnosis, we can provide you some consultation. It's with the BCBA, so a board certified behavior analyst. You would get scheduled to meet with them via Zoom. Bring your questions, what you kind of want to know, and then the BCBA will just kind of talk to you about what ABA is, what CAIO is about, and then can answer any specific questions you might have about your child, whether it's about a certain behavior you're having, trouble with, or maybe a certain skill you are wanting some support in. Those are also on our website as well.